So if you're thinking of starting a consulting business, where do you start? What are you going to consult in? Who are your customers? It's a bit of a challenge, isn't it? This week, I'm going to show you 3 areas that you've got to focus on before you even get started. And that's coming right up. Okay, so if you're thinking about starting a consulting business, it can be a bit of a challenge. What area are you going to consult in? What type of customers? What type of products? And a lot of people get this wrong. So I'm going to show you on a very simple diagram this week 3 things that you've really got to focus on. So I'm going to draw this out on the iPad and then we'll kind of integrate the iPad into the video for you. So what are those 3 areas that we've got to look at? Let's just get these circles drawn, and I have to confess I am no brilliant artist, but we'll see how we go on this. So the first bit I want you to think about is you. And particularly, and this is where people struggle a little bit, they're trying to think of, what should I consult in? It's pretty simple, to be honest. If you're thinking about, what areas, what services to provide, what do you know about? What skills have you got? I mean, let's start with the obvious thing. You're hardly going to be a consultant in an area that you have no skills in. And I'll come back to that in a second. What are you passionate about? Because it helps if you really enjoy what you're doing and you're passionate about it. I mean, I love what I do in my consulting work, and I love helping clients, and that shows through, and it's really important. What things are you qualified in? I mean, depending what your area of expertise is, there's going to be certain, qualifications and accreditations and so on that your clients probably expect you to have. So if you're a business consultant, you're probably going to have business degrees of some sort. And what experience have you got? And this is always a tricky one. And I've mentioned this. Check out my other video, Fake It Till You Make It. It's always hard when you're starting out because you don't have any experience and you're worried, what the clients are going to think of you. But let's just summarize that. You've got to have specific skills that the client probably hasn't got. You've got to have a passion for what you're doing. You have some qualifications. You've got to know what you're doing. And ideally, then you're going to be building up some experience. This can be a bit of a stumbling block for some people. I can remember going to a sales and marketing 3-day event a few years ago, and I was sitting having a coffee with some of the people who were participating, and they were all coaches and consultants and so on. And I sat down with 2 ladies who were probably early 20s. They'd just left university, and I said, "What are you guys doing?" And they said, "We're life coaches." I don't want to be ageist or anything. Kind of, don't you have to have lived a bit of life to be a life coach? I don't know. So, you do need to have some credibility right off the bat, I think. And I know you can coach in something without actually having an ability in it. You can be a football coach and not a great football player. You can be an athletic coach and not a great athlete. But you've got to have credibility. And just with that example, I don't know if a 23-year-old life coach is going to crack it. Not for me. Okay, so there's you. That's the first bit. The next bit that we're going to have a look at is obviously your customers or the market. What am I going to highlight in terms of the market? Let's get a different color going here. And in terms of the market, you need to know, of course, who exactly are your target market. So is it, corporates? Is it small businesses? Is it individuals? The most important thing is, does the market have a need for what you've got? Okay, so think about the sort of life coach example again. I don't want to pick on life coaches, maybe you're a life coach. But have a long, hard search about the thing that you're going to consult in, the service that you're going to provide. Is there a need for it? So it's very important in any sort of business to know that you might have a great product, but does the market actually understand the product, and do they need the product? And so many people get this wrong. So I get people contacting me, every week saying, "Hey, you want to buy this stuff? Do you want?" I'm going, "No, I'm not even thinking of that kind of stuff." Not only do I not have a need, I didn't even know that was a problem, and I'm going to come on to that in a second. So they need to have a need for it, and they need to know that they have a need for it. So if you like, there's got to be an understanding of what you do. So that's the market. And then let's come down to this third box, and what are we going to put in that box? Let me just pick another color. This is your product or service. So what are the things to think about there? Kind of following on from you and the market, people have got to be able to get it. What do? Oh, I do X, Y, and Z. Really? How many times have you asked someone what they do and they say, you know, I'm one of these, and you go, oh, yeah, right. Don't have a clue what that is. Don't know what the benefit of that is. So in terms of your product, people have got to get it straight away. So recircling, you know, back to that market, the market's got to know that this is a problem. I have a need to fix this problem. And when you talk about your product, they go, I need that. So people have actually got to get it and make it clear. You know, don't overcomplicate things. Next, it's got to offer a lot of value. And I had a guy pitching to me 2 weeks ago for a software product, as an example. Lovely young guy in Brisbane. And he said, hey, look, I've got this software product and it manages all of your kind of remote workers, and it does this and it does that. And I said, sounds wonderful. He said, do you think you need that? I said, nope. I said to him, you've got a solution looking for a problem. I don't have the problem that your software fixes. So coming back to that understanding of your market and making sure that your products and services match that market, make sure they absolutely solve the problem that the market has and that the market knows they have. Don't go running around like a lot of people saying, hey, I've got this fantastic widget and it does, you know, X, Y, Z. Well, so what? What's the benefit to me? So don't be like the guy with the software program, which, you know, he's an IT guy, lovely bloke, it sounded wonderful, but it doesn't actually fix anything of value for me. So you've got to have value. And then you've got to have a product range. And what do I mean by that? A product range in consulting? Probably one of the most important things in consulting is the Ascension program. And what I mean by that is you need to have, particularly for new clients, you've got to have a market entry level product which has a very high value to it. I almost said perceived value. So many people talk about perceived value. Forget that term. It's shocking. Real value. There's got to be real value to your product, and it's got to look, you know, fantastic pricing. So, you know, for just a little bit of money, I can get this huge benefit. You know, it's got to be a no-brainer. So that's your entry-level product. And then you step up. It's like a series of steps to you know, higher priced products with even more value, and you have this ascension plan as it's very often described. So I was talking to a client actually about an hour ago. One of the things that we do is cost to serve analysis. I won't go into what that is in our consulting business, but basically I have a diagnostic tool that costs a few $100s. People can upload some data, we turn around a report, and it tells them whether they have an issue in this particular part of their business. And it's something they all need, and they know they need. That's why it's popular. And so this very simple tool tells you, do you have a problem or not? If they don't, great. If they do, then we have the next level of product, which digs deeper, gives them more detail, gives them more insight, gives them a plan of action. That takes them to the next level. And then perhaps if they need even more help, then there's, you know, another service that we can provide. So you've got to have a range of services. You can't just be a one product consultant or a one service consultant. You've got to have things pitched at different price points for different types of companies, and they've got to have a natural progression. So let's get you started with this. You're going to get some benefit, and then we can help you, you know, in a different way, more detailed way, adding more and more benefit. So the last thing that I want to mention, and that's really coming back to you in terms of your skill sets, is your ability to manage relationships, to build and manage relationships. That is probably the key. So let me just fill in some of these gaps here, and I'll show you what I mean. So where we've got the intersection here of you and the product, if you're getting that right, what you're able to then do is to make sure that you're consistently developing new products. You've got to be continually reinventing things and developing things and having new things that you can bring to your clients. So your passion, your skills connected with your products, that's really that area. Then if we get to the intersection of you and your market, this is a really important bit here, because if we get that right, what we're talking about there is your brand. Whether the brand is you or it's your business, it's your company name, that reputation that you're building and the results that you're delivering into the marketplace, that's going to be brand building. And then over on the other side here, let me just pick another sort of lighter color. What we're talking about there, over here, the combination of your market and your products is really the results. This is where the results hit the ground. If you've got the right products and you've got a good match with the needs of the market, you're delivering results, you're building your brand, you're developing new products, you're getting this circle going here, which is going to make you more and more and more successful. So the sweet spot is really to make sure that you understand your skill sets, your background, your qualification, and obviously you've got to be more experienced, qualified and educated than your clients, otherwise they can do it themselves. Do you have a very clear focus on the market and what they need, and do they realize that they need it? If not, there's an education program going there. And then in terms of your products, they've got to offer outstanding value. It's got to be easy to understand. It's got to be, plain to see. I need that, and it's well worth the investment. And make sure you have that Ascension program. Now, there are other videos on the channel talking about marketing, and in fact, the video I think I put out last week was sort of saying don't oversell. So the last thing I'll just say underpinning all of this is that your marketing for your new business has got to be about providing information. You've got to position yourself as the go-to person, the person with the knowledge of this particular topic, the knowledge of the issue that your market has. You've got to show them that you understand those issues, those needs, and you have services that can fix that. So there we go. You, the market, and the product, get all those fitting together, and you're going to have a really successful consulting business. Thanks for watching. See you next week. If you find these videos of interest, do think about hitting the subscribe button. And I think next to the subscribe button there's a little bell. If you hit that, you get an automatic notification every time a new video comes out. And when do they come out? They come out on a Wednesday. Insider tip is we actually publish them on a Tuesday evening Sydney time, because I know a lot of people kind of sit there and wait for them to come out. So I hope that's a bit of help to you. Make sure you know what you're doing, that you understand what the market needs, and you actually deliver something that's going to add value to them. You can't go wrong. See you next week.